Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to Say Being Hunted. So, we're here once again for a podcast style episode. It's just me this time. No Phil, no Connor. It is just I, the Red, back on my... Oh, Jesus. Why does the game rubber band like that sometimes? I don't know. It's really, really weird. It's not the first time I've had that though, of course. But it probably won't be the last either, will it now, ladies and gentlemen? Right, but yes, I just wanted to come and do a podcast-style episode and all that, given that it has been a while, actually, since my last recording session, and my queue of videos on the channel is starting to go down once again, so I need to have another recording session. I was thinking, it's Saturday the 22nd of March, incidentally, today. I might as well take the video as when I'm recording. And I was thinking to myself, I really do need to do a recording, and I'm thinking I might actually make today a little bit of a recording session just for myself. So, planning on doing a bit of Sir. Also, I need to crack on with Commandos 2, the HD remaster, do the next mission in that one. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to do that one as well. Also, possibly hoping to do a bit of Captain Claw, get back to that, do at least one more player-made custom map with that one, because one was actually recommended to me by a viewer who's like, ooh, could you play this one please? And I've been meaning to do it now for several days, and I haven't done so, though having said that, by the time this particular video goes out, I probably will have played it and uploaded it on the channel, blah blah blah. Yes, yes, yes. But also, actually, in other news, again, this news will be technically slightly out of date by the time this video goes out, but obviously it being 22nd of March today, is quite interesting in the Fangenromper circles, because those of you who follow Fangenromper projects and developments, you'll probably be aware that there is, of course, a Fangenromper which has been in development, I believe, for about 9 years or so at this point, which is releasing its prologue later today at about 1700 GMT, so 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And that Fangan, of course, some of you probably know the name of it. It is Kill Cure Beautiful Vice. So I've seen various little bits of artwork of that Fangan at various times. I don't know a lot about it, but yeah, I'm keeping my eyes peeled, particularly this afternoon, for when the itch.io page for that particular Fangenromper goes live. Because yeah, you can guarantee I'm planning to play it. Because, along with Project Eden's Garden, Kill Cure is one that's been very hotly anticipated for quite a while. But it's a funny one, because like I say, I feel like it's been in development for years and years, almost 10 years or something like that. I might be, I don't know, slightly out, one way or the other. But, in essence, basically it's been in development for a long time. That's the key point there. And the thing about it is, I believe it originally was going to start out live as a video series on YouTube, not as a game, but at some point in its long development hell, the people making it decided to actually, no, we're not going to do a video series, we're going to actually make it a full-on game, and all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and you can absolutely guarantee I'm going to be looking to see if I can record it and upload my Let's Play on the channel. So probably what's going to happen is, when it goes live this evening, hoping there's no unforeseen delays, anything like that would prevent it from releasing, what I'm sort of hoping is that I'll have a chance to play it, get the footage quickly, exported, processed and all that, upload it on the channel, and you can start seeing some Kill Cure bonus content very, very quickly over the coming days. Though once again, as I've said, by the time this video actually goes out, I may well have already started uploading episodes of it and all that. But that's just one piece of news really that I wanted to actually talk about for this podcast style episode and all that, because I think it's very interesting, and you've got that to look forward to. Potentially, ladies and gents, assuming it hasn't already come out and all, which it probably will have done. But no, other news that I actually wanted to talk about in this video as well. The spring sale, of course, is on Steam. And, as you can imagine, I've been purchasing lots of games for really cheap prices. And in particular, most recently, during this sale, I've got my hands on a load of Backrooms slash liminal space games. Where the hell are you? Don't know where you are. Have that. Fuck. God damn, there's like 1,000,001 robots around here. You can fuck right off, buddy. Oh, God dang it. They're all gonna frickin' move off back over there, aren't they? Unless I do that. So yes, Backrooms, liminal space games. Bought an absolute ton of them on Steam during the sale, which was pretty good. Really enjoyed them. Oh, really enjoyed them. Haven't even played them yet, what am I saying? Really looking forward to them, rather, is what I was trying to say. But it got me sort of thinking, actually, that about the sheer multiplicity of Backrooms games that are actually available on Steam. Because I must have bought a good, 4 or 5 of them, at least, including some other sort of more anomaly-based liminal space games. And the thing is, as I was looking through Steam, I really wanted to talk more than anything about Backrooms games on Steam, and just how many there are. Seriously, if you haven't seen, go on Steam, go to the Steam store page, type Backrooms into the search bar and just search that, and the sheer number of demos and other titles based on the Backrooms is astounding. And the thing is, I'll be sort of brutally honest, when you look at some of the screenshots for them, some of them do look kinda shit. They do look like garbage, some of them. But every once in a while, if you search long and hard enough, you do find the ones that do have positive reviews. The ones that people do seem to like and rate fairly well. And those are the ones really that I'm interested in as a player. Because the thing is, like, you look at the screenshots of a lot of these cheap Backrooms games that you get on Steam. It's like so many of them just basically all look like clones of the same game. As in they all have basically the same kind of levels, the same kind of monsters, the same kind of mechanics. And you think to yourself, how many of these kind of, multiplayer Backrooms games and just other Backrooms games which have the same levels, the same monsters, the same mechanics, how many of these can people produce before eventually they start to think, okay, I'm not really creating something entirely original here anymore? And that's the thing. That's why I'm actually kind of glad that in recent months, we've had some great liminal space games that have kind of shaken things up a bit and done different things. So namely, games like Dream Core, Liminal Core, Pools, etc, etc. Because those are really good ones, because they've purposefully steered a little away from some of the traditional Backroom stuff, and instead, gone for different environments, different liminal spaces, in order to keep things original and interesting. But like I say, you go on Steam, you look at the sheer number of Backrooms games, and you think to yourself, God, these are all just the same. It's like, the first level is always the level 0, with the yellow walls, and the friggin' weird cable monster dude chasing you around. And then, they always have... I see a lot of them have similar levels, like there's one that looks like a long red corridor, where I think you're possibly chased by monsters or something. That seems to be a common one. And I know pool rooms are always a common one in a lot of those games as well. But, that pool rooms I'm always kind of more into, because I find it an interesting environment. But, yeah, I mean, you get what I'm trying to say here, in essence. And I think it's just interesting from a game design point of view. Because I get the feeling that a lot of these Backrooms games possibly are, I don't know, they're possibly made and written by younger developers who may be either early 20s or possibly even just teenagers. And so, if I could say possibly one thing to developers of those kind of games, it would be, don't just try to cover the same ground that every other Backrooms game tries to cover. Try and do something different. Because the thing is, admittedly there's lots of different laws and canons now for the Backrooms created by different communities. And you can always look at the kind of ideas they produce if you want a bit of inspiration, but it's good to also think about, maybe more original types of liminal space. Think about your own memories of when you were a kid. Because that's the thing, a lot of liminal spaces always have to have that kind of, not just that element of being unsettling, but also another big part of it sometimes can be that element of, this is weirdly nostalgic or familiar as well as scary, in the sense of it reminds you of places you've actually been before years and years ago when you were a lot younger. And so, some people really do that well. They sort of look back on their own life and they think about places they went to when they were kids, back in the 80s, the 90s, or whenever, or the early 2000s. And they sort of think to themselves, when I went to these places, what did the internal decor look like, and how dated was it? And I think probably what can be quite helpful there is if your family has old photograph albums, back in the day, of when you'd have your little camera with the roll of film, and you'd have to go and get them developed, print them out and all that. This is obviously long before the era of digital photographs, where you could just take them and upload them on your computer. And so that's something really that people obviously probably should do, because that probably would give you a lot of inspiration as a dev in terms of level design, things like that. It kind of makes me want to actually look back. God, why am I getting frame rate spikes? Frame rate's suddenly going down to about friggin' 40. Don't know if you're really seeing that, ladies and gentlemen. You might well be, who knows? We've got... There you are. You're going away. It makes me actually want to, when I'm next visiting friends and family back up in the north of England, I might, see if my old folks have got some old photo albums, pictures of my primary school and places like that, where I went to when I was very young. Because I can still sort of picture my primary school, even now, vaguely in my head. So it's probably quite interesting. Pull stuff like that out, and have a look. Have a look at them. Have a look at the pictures. Not that I'm planning on making a Backrooms game or anything. I have no game making abilities. I no. I'm just saying that out of general interest. Oh, yes. And indeed, I suppose another source of inspiration, if you're thinking about how you could design liminal spaces, look for buildings in your neighbourhood that maybe were constructed and furnished back in like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s or the 90s or whenever. And if it's a building that you can publicly access, go inside, have a look at the walls, have a look in particular at carpets and flooring, because it makes me think of, for example, where I work at the moment, because I know the history of the building where I work. The building where I work in my current academic position was originally built sort of late, very, very, very late 90s under the Blair government. It was like a private finance initiative thing. And I think there are still elements of its internal decor in places which obviously are reflective of late 90s, early 2000s tastes. So like, for example, some of the corridors in like the stairwells, things like that, they have kind of like bluish floors. I'm sure people have seen these kind of things before. Not like vinyl floors, no. I don't know what kind of material it is. Actually, there's probably a proper term for it. It's not tiled either. It's God, I don't know what kind of material it is, but it's basically like a bluish coloured floor in places, in like say in some of the stairwells, which obviously feels like quite a dated sort of thing. Because I can remember my primary school having similar flooring when I was a kid back in the 90s. So that's evidently, I feel like a 90s thing potentially, or 80s whenever it was put in. Or whenever, rather, not when it was put in, sorry, but whenever that kind of blue flooring was fashionable. So, it's interesting. Look around the buildings in your neighbourhood, especially publicly accessible ones. Look for things that clearly are quite dated or are not reflective of modern taste, because evidently they'll have probably been put in at a much earlier time, and they'll probably therefore evoke a bit of that liminal, uncanny valley sense of familiarity. So yeah, I suppose really that's my rambling way of saying to game devs, if you're going to make a Backrooms or a liminal space game, please, try not to tread the same ground over and over repeatedly. Try to do something a bit different. That reminds me though, there is a Backrooms game that I think is on my Steam wishlist. I forget the name of it. Is it called Trust the Backrooms? Something like that. But it looks like a very different one, where instead of being a first-person exploration, it looks more like a sort of top-down isometric viewpoint, where you have a character. So it's kind of third-person instead, which, granted, may not sound like much, but immediately that marks it and sets it apart from other Backrooms games. So that's the point, ladies and gentlemen. Do something different. Don't just make a clone of the 1,000,001 other Backrooms games that are already available. Not saying I wouldn't necessarily play them, just that, you know, it's good to have something a bit newer and a bit more original every once in a while, you know? Oh god, twizzling my camera around all over the place then. Yes, well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, that probably does it for this podcast style episode. Kind of covered really the main things that I want to talk about. So, basically in essence, you've got a lot of Backroom/liminal space content potentially to look forward to in the near future on the channel. And as well as that, we've also got Kill Cure, Beautiful Vice, potentially coming on the channel very, very soon, if not already being released here. Oh, actually, before I do wrap up, know some other news. You know, I mentioned, I think, a couple of videos ago that I bought off eBay that James Bond 007 Nightfire, a second-hand copy of that. Obviously, I mentioned that. I've not tested it out yet, so I don't know if it works. But I also bought, more recently, another couple of second-hand games off eBay, which I may have mentioned. I think I did mention them. Turning Point Fall of Liberty. Got that one, or at least I've got a second-hand copy of it that I want to test at some point. And also 2003's Devastation, Resistance Breeze Revolution. Bought that off eBay as well, second-hand copy. So like I say, I'm not making any guarantees in terms of whether I'll be able to play them on the channel. It all depends on testing. When I eventually get my detachable USB disk drive out, plug it in, and then see if I can get the games to run. But you never know. You never know, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe. Could be something that you'll see on the channel at some point. Who knows? But like I say, I'm not making any guarantees on that front. Alright, yeah, I just wanted to mention that as well. So, now we'll wrap up. Okay, yeah, social medias, propagandist channel link, blah blah blah, all in the video description as usual. If you enjoyed, a like is always appreciated. Not that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. Okay, this is more like it. Bloody invisible zombies. No.
Vampirism.
Christ, what's doing with the radio? Oh, call back call. Hello, that's an interesting one. Right. Balls to you. Balls to all of you. Might do the call back up in a second, whatever that does.